Hi guys, I had a vision a couple days ago. It was on the morning of the 25th of November, and it was really profound. So I want to share with you and I want to document it for myself. I don't know if it has any significance, but I want to share and document if for no other reason, just for the fact that it had such an imprint on me. And I have never experienced anything like this before. I've been dealing with chronic illness for the past 3 or 4 years of my life, and so I've spent a lot of that time in prayer and in meditative prayer, and I'm very comfortable and aware of the Holy Spirit and the Spirit when I'm in the presence and when I feel it and when it's trying to tell me something. So I'm not at all, um, it's nothing new to me. But on this morning around 6 a.m., I was trying to fall asleep, and I had a particularly hard day with my symptoms, and I didn't want to even pray. I just wanted to go to sleep. So I'm about to fall asleep, and I feel something come to me. The Spirit came, the Holy Spirit just came to me in a way that I've never felt before. It was kind of like somebody walked right up to me and was standing right next to me. And all of a sudden, in my stomach, in my core, I felt this welling up sensation, and it radiated out of my limbs and into my head. And I just felt complete relief and excitement, like jubilation. I don't know what other way to explain it. And it was like the Holy Spirit was just showing me that there was light at the end of the tunnel. So it was really profound. And I think I was smiling. I was awake, and I just thought to myself, wow, this is amazing. This is really, really amazing. And it only lasted maybe 20-30 seconds at most. And that was it. And so it felt like it left as quickly as it had come. But it left me just feeling fulfilled and knowing that I was going to be okay. And I think that I needed that. I really, really needed that. So I fell asleep. And the next thing I realize that I recall is I'm having this vision. And I am underwater and I'm swimming. And I realize that I'm in a building, a large building. And everything is kind of fuzzy around me, and things are kind of coming in and out of focus, but I am underwater swimming, and it's a lot of water. It's deep water, but I'm inside of a building, and I'm looking up and I can see light, so I know to swim up, and I'm trying to swim as quickly as possible because I don't have enough air. I actually felt like I was going to suffocate, and it felt real. I actually felt like in this dream or vision I was having that I was suffocating. Just at the moment when I knew I wasn't going to make it, I wasn't going to get up to the surface in time to get a breath of air and save myself, I was pulled up to the surface. I was just zipped right up, and I caught my breath, and I was relieved. I was just so relieved. I crawled up on a ledge, and there was a ledge that surrounded the perimeter of the ceiling of this large building that I was in, and it was like a big lobby. And it was an old building with marble floors and big pillars, big stone pillars, and it reminded me of just a bank. And I look down, I see water, and I can see through all of the water. At this point it's clear, all the water is crystal clear, and I see people walking around on the floor in the bottom, and it must have been 40 or 50 feet below me, because I felt like I was very high. I was really, really high up. And these people, some of them were panicking, and they were trying to get their money from these bank tellers. I realized I was in a bank, and they were panicking and they were trying to get their money. And then I saw people that were face down, and I had assumed that they had drowned and that they were not, that they had died. And it was like these people were panicking, and they knew what was they were panicked about something, and they saw that people were dying, and they were trying to get their money. And I could see money floating in the water, and then there was money floating on the surface of the water, and it was, the ink was washing away from all of the money. And I remember just looking at it, perplexed, thinking, what is going on? I felt like I just barely caught my breath and escaped whatever that was. But the people that were walking around, they didn't know they were underwater. They didn't know that they were, it was like they weren't even aware. But it was so profound to me. I thought I was gonna die. And then as soon as I thought I wasn't gonna make it, I was pulled right out of the water. So the next thing that I remember is, now I'm no longer in this bank, but I'm above a city, and it's nighttime, and I can see all the lights, and I realize that this entire city is covered in water. It's underwater, but I can see everything still, and I'm moving really fast, but I can see everything in slow motion and really clearly. And I remember not thinking much about what I was doing, but I remember looking down and thinking, look at these skyscrapers, they're underwater. There's so much water everywhere. And I'm so high up. And it was almost like I was above the earth enough that I could see the contour of the earth. But I could see the city with like a magnifying glass. It was surreal. And I realized as I'm moving, I recognized the building. It was the Rockefeller building, GE building in New York. And I had just been there within the past year, so I recognized that. And I said, oh my gosh, this is New York City. And it's completely underwater. And all of the lights were on in the buildings, and I could see in the streets and the grid there was traffic, and it was still moving. But it was all underwater. I mean, it was like they didn't know. But I was very aware that I was not underwater. It was extremely real to me that something was going on, and there were definitely people that they didn't know what was going on. And I don't know if people, I couldn't tell, I couldn't see close enough if people were panicking. I just saw this massive city, and it was completely underwater. And I don't know if I was with anybody else. I felt like I was just being pulled through the sky. And that's all that I remember from the dream, this vision that I had. And when I woke up the next morning or the next afternoon, I just knew that the Spirit had showed me a vision, because it was so profound in the way that I was approached that night. And then the vision I had was so intense. It was like I didn't dream it. It was something that I just was shown to me that I saw. I couldn't have made it up. It was too real. And I just barely made it out of the water. I just barely got out. And so that was why it was very significant. So I wanted to share that with you, and just document it, because I don't know if these dreams have significance, but I do know that there have been visions that people have had with tsunamis, and flooding, and hitting the coast. I have no idea if that's what this was. The spirit trying to tell me something. I'm not sure. But I wasn't aware that it was New York City. I wasn't aware of there being anything like a disaster. Other than that, everything was just underwater. And I was out of the water. So I wanted to just share that with you guys, document this. I thought it was very interesting, and being approached by the spirit in that way um, was extremely profound, and it was just joyous, and it felt amazing. And the spirit will speak to those who listen. I firmly believe it, and I know it. You just have to humble yourself. And so I believe it spoke to me, and it had a message. And that's all I have for you guys. So I will talk to you soon. Wish you guys all the best.